But I was linked this video. You can see what I've searched for. It was very hard. But apparently somebody made a video about this because I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to find the clip on Twitch, as Pyromancer has a tendency to delete his outbursts. I haven't really seen what this one is about. Before we begin, do not send any hate to Pyromancer. I actually usually like his content. I mean, we even reacted to his very first World of Warcraft outburst, and I don't know if we talked about his controller situation, which I think is somewhat related to this. So let's see what this is about.
Yeah, I don't really want to, like, I don't know, man. I think that I feel like I shot myself in the foot in this community, man, and it's fucking annoying because I think it's kind of bullshit, dude. I just think it's kind of bullshit.
You shot yourself in the foot in this community. I'm assuming he's referring to the Final Fantasy XIV community. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit. But it's like, in a way, I've talked to this situation with Brian, and it's kind of like the situation that Pyromancer finds himself in was fundamentally unavoidable. Apparently, there's a lot of people in the Final Fantasy XIV community that don't like him anymore. Even though, like, in the beginning, like, everything is super wholesome, apparently there's a lot of people that don't like him. But it's like, then again, you're not doing yourself any favors by doing videos where you're like, oh, I shot myself in the foot with this community. It's like, the more you keep addressing this situation, it's just move on. Create your content, don't create your content, but we'll talk more about this for sure. Let's see.
Motherfuckers go on their stream and they rage all the fucking time, and no one fucking.
Hey! Is he talking about me? I mean, clearly not. Doesn't even know who I am. I'm just saying. I do have a tendency to rage. I do rage quite a bit. Yes, this happens. Yes.
Shit about them.
Oh my god!
But, you know.
I could do without the
fucking
memes.
Rage. Pyro's
Yes.
just a rager.
Stop it. Get some help.
These memes.
So fucking stupid. Anyway, I'm just bitching about. Yeah, I'm just bitching. Sorry.
Like, this is fine. At the end of the day, we're all human. We all get offended by shit. Like, I'll get offended by shit all the time. I'll rage about shit all the time. This still feels like pretty normal to me if he's upset. It's just the big problem that I see here is the generalization. Because he just says, I shot myself in the foot with this community, basically generalizing the entire Final Fantasy XIV community over a couple of people that don't like him anymore. You can't. This is one of the biggest problems with the internet. People overgeneralize shit all the goddamn time. And you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. I probably do it too.
People got butthurt about what I said about their fucking controllers and.
There it is! That's right. That's right, Pyromancer. Listen. I play 14 with a controller. Okay, look at it. I want you to look at it. Taste it. It's a tasty controller. Look at it. Okay? I play Final Fantasy XIV with a controller. Interestingly enough, somebody else in my chat, I believe he's here right now, Ketnet, also plays Final Fantasy XIV with a controller. You want to know the best part? Ketnet will parse better than 99% of the motherfuckers that end up watching this video on a controller. I just want you all to know that, okay? Ketnet will beat your ass, even if you play on a keyboard with his controller. Just throwing that out there. He will beat your ass up and down the street every day, as long as he's not playing healer. But like, it's like he will beat your ass up and down the street with a controller. And he's playing on PC, by the way. He doesn't play on a controller because he's on console. He's playing on a controller on a PC.
Now there's a perception in the FF community that, like, people just hate me.
These memes, bro.
You have to admit,
serious?
Pyro? Oh, here we go. What do I have to admit? that clip of you raging over the WoW stuff got a ton of views. It's the most, you realize, it's the most viewed clip in Final Fantasy history. Do you guys know that?
Okay.
Is it actually? That's fucking impressive.
I'm ready. You guys know that shit? It's crazy. And that's just like kind of what blows my mind is like motherfucker got popular for that. And then motherfucker got ridiculed for that. It's like, dude.
Yeah,
Take a side of the fence. It's because they liked me. You know what? You know why? It's because people love that I was raging at WoW. But as soon as I raged at FF, people got defensive and mad. That's exactly what happened. And when I got mad that one time on stream and talked shit about the console restrictions and that shit, people took it really personally, and that's why they got mad about it, because it was about them this time.
of course, they took it personal because you were wrong. That's why they took it personal. He was talking some mad shit about consoles being an inferior platform and all of this. And he's like, yeah, I said it. Consoles suck. Blah, blah, blah. Controllers an inferior way to play the game and all of this. And it's like, for starters, in order to have an opinion like that, you kind of need to have experienced both things. I don't think you can just straight up say that like playing with a controller is an inferior experience unless you've experienced both ways, playing with mouse and keyboard and playing with a controller. Like, you'll see me meme with my friends a lot of times where I'll be like, shit, must suck to play mouse and keyboard. My controller is much better. Like, I'll constantly say the controller is better, but it's a meme. Everybody understands that it's a meme. But there are certain things where I will say there's like a slight advantage on keyboard, but overall, there is extreme parity between mouse and keyboard and controller when it comes to Final Fantasy XIV. Two of the biggest things that I would instantly point out is evading the, you know, those mechanics with the eyes. I forget what they're called, but you guys know the eyes pop out and you have to like turn around. Doing that with a controller is not, it's not about doing it as harder. It's more so doing it while trying to maintain uptime. I feel like is easier on keyboard because you can do a couple of more interesting tricks. I also feel that the way, for some strange reason, the best way to actually move on a controller also moves your camera, which is annoying as fuck. And there was another thing, which is healing. Healing on a controller is very annoying because the way that you have to cycle through your party is like up, down, 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 up, down, 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 down. Like, that's how you cycle through your party. Whereas with the mouse, you can just go in there like, oh, I'll heal this person now, heal that person now. So healing, I definitely think it's much superior on mouse and keyboard. But everything else, controller can pretty much gaze mechanics. Everything else, controller can pretty much just like keep up, and it's not really that hard. Just, you know, don't heal. Oh, we'll talk about that, Trevian. We'll talk about that. Don't worry about it. We'll talk. We'll talk about that. But yeah, it's like he said a bunch of mad shit about console, and people were upset because I think that a lot of people underestimate that a big portion, not like most of the success of 14, but a big reason why 14 is as big as it is specifically because it's got cross play with consoles, and you can't just like throw a huge chunk of the community under the bridge because you're like, yeah, fuck them consoles. I want better graphics or something. And it's like, one, that's not going to happen. Like, the reason the game is the way that it is, it's not because of console limitations. So just relax. But you know, it's because they're working on a really old engine. They had to like readapt it, blah blah blah. Everybody knows spaghetti code. It's like the game not being on consoles is not going to magically make the game better. It's just not the way that it's going to go. I mean, they're improving the engine and the game is still going to work on consoles. So, you know.
That's why. It's okay if you talk shit as long as it's not about us. Fucking dumb.
And do you think that this is going to make it better for you to just like call out everybody in the community and calling them fucking dumb?
You need to shut.
Jesus Christ. These goddamn really loud memes. But yeah, you guys get the point. Pyromancer had another ragey moment. And one of the things that I want to point out with this is like, look, when it comes to 14, and I've talked at length about this with other creators, it's like whenever somebody joins 14 and people are just like watching them do the MSQ, you're going to have a certain following while you are doing the MSQ. Everybody wants to watch your reactions and whatnot. And when you get caught up, the interest of most people ends up fading simply because, you know, they've seen you see the story, they've seen your reactions, they're kind of done. They don't want to see you do the grind. Like the grind in Final Fantasy XIV already has very specific content creators that people follow for watching the grind because they like those specific content creators. And it's established content, and they'll keep following the established content creators, and they're not going to follow you for Final Fantasy XIV content after you finish the MSQ. That's just the way that it is. That is just the way that things are. And this is one of the reasons why I've never shifted to being like an exclusive Final Fantasy XIV content creator. As a matter of fact, I've never shifted to being an exclusive content creator of any video game. A lot of people consider me to be a Monster Hunter content creator because I play a lot of Monster Hunter, which is fine. Some people consider me to be a Dark Souls content creator because I play a lot of Dark Souls, which is also fine. But it's like fundamentally, I play a wide variety of games. Why? Because for starters, it's bad for your mental health to just always play the same game. Because in time, you will always grow to resent it. If you just play the same game over and over and over, you'll eventually grow to resent it. It is much healthier for you to just play a couple of different games and then choose to make content around the ones that you like the most, around the ones that actually works for you, whatever. Choose the content that works for you, because that way you won't constantly be going live and become frustrated with the fact that you no longer have the same viewership that you had before. Like, for instance, right now we have 88 people watching me live here on Twitch. I've been on this platform a long time. I've been up to like 500, 800 people, whatever. I've never been as big as Pyromancer has been, that's for sure. But it's like I've been up to like 500, 800. I've been down to like 20 and 30. When I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, I think my average was like between 50 and 70 of people watching. It's just a matter of like, look, accept some things are going to work, some things are not going to work, and try to figure out what do you like doing and what do you like creating content about. But don't resent the community if they don't show up, and then, you know, just be frustrated and constantly, you know, coming up with these outbursts, because that ultimately ends up being bad for you, not even for the community, for you, especially mentally. So now I also want to bring up the fact that when it comes to the Final Fantasy XIV community, it's almost like there's two communities in Final Fantasy XIV. And sometimes there's an overlap between these two communities, but fundamentally there's two communities in Final Fantasy XIV. And this is how the Final Fantasy XIV is going to start hating me as well. But listen, there's two communities, okay? There's the community that's in-game. Okay? The people that you interact with in-game, that is one community of Final Fantasy XIV. Then there's the second community of Final Fantasy XIV, which is the people you interact with outside of the game. And this is a very different section of the community. So see, all of this wholesome and nice and kind, this is the community in the game. Then there's the other side of it, which is the people that you interact with outside of the game. So let me tell you, a while ago, I had this channel that I was working on, which I called Final Fantasy Noob. This channel is mine, if you guys ever wondered. Because I was like super into, like, just, I've always been super into 14 pretty much since I've started, right? So I decided, hey, I know, let's put in some effort and like actually put out a bunch of content for 14. Except it wasn't working on my main channel, because my main channel is mostly Dark Souls and Monster Hunter, right? So I was like, okay, so I need a different channel to put all this Final Fantasy stuff into. So I made all of these videos talking about Final Fantasy, blah, 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 blah. And as I was working on this channel, that's when I realized that I'm too late to be like a successful Final Fantasy content creator. I'm just too late. I cannot just jump into the fray and have at it, because for whatever reason, the Final Fantasy XIV community has already selected the content creators that they want to follow, and they're actually not interested in following new content creators. And a lot of people are going to say, like, what? That's insanity. What do you say? No, that's not it at all. And I find it interesting because then you see people making videos and making like Reddit posts about like, how come there's no new content creators in the Final Fantasy XIV ecosystem? And the answer is because you don't watch them. Now you can just say, oh, Rurikhan, you're just not that interesting. Fine. I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about like, there are thousands of people trying to create content around Final Fantasy XIV, and people just don't watch them. Okay, listen, the people that tend to watch Final Fantasy XIV content creators is like the people. That sentence is not properly worded. The people have chosen a selection of content creators that they want to follow for Final Fantasy XIV, and it's like Zepla, it is Mr. Happy, it is Xeno, it is Arthur's, and there's a couple of more of them, but it's like they've already chosen the people that they want to follow. And when it comes to YouTube, that number is actually even smaller. And these are the content creators that people want to watch, and these are the ones that they will watch. And new content creators, they very rarely follow new content creators. Another one used to be Ethis Asher, but he actually stopped creating content. I think he's doing something else, whatever. So whenever people ask why are there no new content creators for Final Fantasy XIV, it's because you don't watch them. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And then I want to touch up on the second point that I was talking about. Yeah, MTQ Capture. I forgot about that. MTQ Capture for sure. A lot of people watch Mistech. Mistech's amazing. But the other point that I wanted to bring up is the fact that like there's two communities in Final Fantasy XIV. There's the one that you meet in the game, and there's the one that you meet outside of the game. So like look at these videos that we have over here, right? You'll see pretty bad views all around. Got like 600 views, 400 views. These are re-uploads from my main channel, by the way, so a lot of people had already watched some of these videos. This one got a little bit more views because it's kind of like the clickbaity one. Should you play Final Fantasy XIV in 2020? Then there's like a patch coverage. There's a popular topic, the 2.5 GCD problem. I'm not sure if this is showing up correctly on stream. Let me just, yeah. There's 2.5 GCD problem. Then I talked about how I made a crafter, blah, 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 bunch of stuff. But like, look at the general views on them, right? I think the most popular one that I have is this one, reminding people to do their job quests. But clearly you see that the average view that you get in here is between 1,000, 2,000 views, whatever, right? But then you look at one of these videos. This one stands out. Look at the amount of views on that one. That's 11,000 views on that last one. Holy shit. And that is because that is a very contentious topic right there. Healers need to heal before they DPS? What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, bro, the Final Fantasy XIV community, the ones outside the game, they fucking hated this video. They hated this video so bad. One of the people that actually got me into Final Fantasy XIV told me to no longer mention his name in my videos. Okay? He said, listen, bro, after that healer, I don't want you talking about me anymore in the videos. Look, I gotta keep my Final Fantasy XIV, like, don't talk about me anymore. I was like, all right. I mean, hey, it's like, that's how bad that went. All right? That's how fucking bad that went. So, in this video, if you go to the comments, I think YouTube has actually filtered some of those out because I don't remove comments. People might think that I was removed. I don't remove comments. YouTube filters comments out automatically when they get too abusive. Because, you know, it's just an automatic system. Especially with bots and shit. It's whatever. But anyways, there were comments in there talking about People went and looked for my parses of the first time that I ever did normal Eden. Okay? Which was the first time that I was trying to raid in Final Fantasy XIV. The actual literal first time that I was raiding in current content. People went and picked up those logs and threw them in my face, telling me about how my performance was terrible, which, by the way, caused me to very shortly after install ACT. No, I never did that. Install ACT and basically started pumping out like blue parses all over the fucking place during Shadowbringers. And I was still learning. But, you know, people were basically like trashing my parses. People were saying that I didn't know how to play healer. People were micro-analyzing my gameplay in that video, which, by the way, was like, I don't know, the second or third time that I was healing in a dungeon as a scholar. Whatever. So people were like, tons and tons of fucking toxicity being hurled at me in that video. I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, whatever. You guys do whatever you think. My point still stands. And by the way, Arthur's reacted to my video, and he said I actually had a point in a lot of the things that I was saying, which was what I was saying was basically, listen, you guys, a lot of the healers are basically like tryharding on leveling roulette and expert roulette, even when there's sprouts in the party. And, you know, sprouts get scared. Sprouts get a little bit alienated when they're trying to learn how to tank, and the healer's just like, hey, I'm going to leave you at 10%. And people were saying like, well, did he die? Did he die? And this was one of the worst things that I forgot to mention in the video is yes, I seen tons of fucking tanks die. That's why I made the fucking bitch. That's why I made the video, because I seen tanks die repeatedly because they would make one mistake when they were sub 10% health because the healer's like, I don't care. I'm pressing glare. So, whatever. Right? People basically shat on me for this video relentlessly. And this is what I was talking about. There's two communities. There's the community you interact with in the game, and there's the community you interact with outside the game. This same community, also more recently, I don't know if you guys kept up with it, but like in first week of Prague of Abyssus Savage, Mr. Happy was in a group with Rin and a couple of other people, and they were all doing like they were progging. And Mr. Happy said he wanted to go for a week 1 clear or something like that. And there were 3 people from that group that suddenly couldn't raid anymore. So Mr. Happy left. Community just like shit talking the crap out of Mr. Happy nonstop. Which, by the way, there's something about a lot of people not liking Mr. Happy. I'm not exactly sure what that deal's about. But that's another thing. Bunch of people don't like Mr. Happy for some reason. But they just basically trash talk the fuck out of him. Even though when I was hearing this, I'm like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. There's got to be a reasoning behind it. Yeah, if you look into the situation more, you realize like, well, yeah, Mr. Happy stepped out of this group because 3 people suddenly decided or had emergencies or something happened. I don't know what the reasoning was because I didn't look too deeply into it. But 3 people just said, oh, we can't raid anymore. Miss Happy's like, I want to go for a week 1 clear. So whatever, right? And the community just like, memeing on him nonstop all over Reddit, shit talking him all over the place, calling him a bad content creator, calling him a bad person, like all kinds of shit, which is again, 2 sides of the community. Another example, you guys remember when Rich Campbell got into Final Fantasy XIV and wanted to do ultimates? And a bunch of streamers got together to help Rich Campbell do ultimates, and somehow a large subsection of the community saw that as a terrible fucking thing? Why? What's so wrong? What is so wrong about Rich Campbell getting like triple legend? Why are people so invested in this? I thought it was awesome. I even made a video talking about it. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, let's go. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I think I made a video on the Unleashed channel. But yeah, so it's like, when you're talking about the Final Fantasy XIV community, it's always important to realize there is a subsection of the community that likes to trash talk and, you know, do the usual troll things that you encounter on the internet. And then there's a subsection of the community that is perfectly fine. Because now I've also seen videos of people blaming the fact that the World of Warcraft community came on to Final Fantasy XIV. It's like, listen, the trash talk that I got in my healer video was long before a large subsection of the World of Warcraft community came to Final Fantasy XIV, all right? This is not a World of Warcraft community thing. So, relax. But, yeah, that's the point. And it's like, don't go too hard on Pyromancer. He's going through his own struggles. He's trying to figure out how to, I think that he's now doing content creation full time, which made sense because at some point he had like 10,000 concurrents, I think almost 15,000 subs, which is a considerable amount of money. Like 15,000 subs on a 50% thing is like 30,000 bones a month. It's more than 30,000 bones a month, like 35, almost 40. It's like, why the fuck wouldn't you do it full time? Problem is, like I said, it is transitory until you finish that MSQ, and now people ditched, and obviously he's frustrated about, it's harder to balance things out. I mean, I shouldn't say much because according to the footage that I've seen there, he's still got like 1,500 subs or whatever on Twitch. He's still making way more money than I am, so it's like I'm not the person to advise him on anything, but